In this video, I'm going to look at how to solve linear systems of equations using the TI-89 graphing calculator. I've done some with the TI-83. This calculator is much more powerful. That's why some instructors won't let you use the calculator in class. But if you have some online assignments or you just want to check yourself, this can be very helpful using this calculator. Also, you can do all these manually using substitution, elimination method. You can use Cramer's rule, you can use matrices, quite a few ways to solve them manually. Now again, when you're solving a linear system of equations, there's going to be three options you're going to have. You're either going to have one unique solution, you're going to have no solution, or you're going to have an infinite number of solutions. Okay, so if you have an equation with two variables, two equations, or three variables, three equations, four variables, four equations. So if the number of equations is the same as the number of variables, those are the three possibilities: either no solution, one solution, or an infinite solution set. Okay, so in the case of two equations, first degree linear equations, you're looking at lines. So the lines are either going to intersect at one point, so you get one solution for x and one for y. The lines could be parallel, there's no solution, or it could be the same line, so the lines would coincide, infinite number of solutions. But in this case, we're going to look at the graphing calculator, so let me call out my calculator here. Okay, so let's look at the first equation. I have the solution there as a reference, is in terms of an ordered pair, but we're going to do it in the calculator. So we're going to use the same command we used in the previous video. Go to F2, and then number 1 is a solve command, so I just hit enter. And then we just enter the equations. So we got 5x minus 2y is equal to 1. And then we're going to put an AND next. So just go hit the second button here. And then over here at number 5 here in the keyboard, we're accessing the menu there, math. So hit 5. Okay, now we want number 8, which is test. Hit 8, and then we want 8 again because we want the word AND. So 8. And then we just enter the next equation. So this is 3x plus 7y is equal to a negative. Okay, so it's this negative right here in the parentheses, not this one over here. This one's for subtraction. So this one here, negative 24. And then we put a comma. And then you indicate the variable, just like in the other one, in the other ones I did in the last video. But here you have to use the braces here. So hit second key, and then where the parentheses is, click there, and it gives you the little braces there. And then enter x, and then a comma. Now enter the y, and then close with the braces again. So hit second, and hit the parentheses here. We're accessing the braces. Now if you put parentheses here, it's not going to work. Okay, so you have to use this method here, and then we close it with a parentheses. So make sure this one is a parentheses. The TI-89 is a little bit more picky than the TI-83. Okay, and then we hit enter, and then it gives you the solution. X is equal to -1, y is equal to -3. And you can usually check these by just plugging into the equation, put a -1 where the x is, put a -3 for where the y is, and you should get a 1 over here. Put a -1 over here in the second one where the x is, -3 here, and you just get a -24. You can check it that way. Okay, so let's clear this. And then we go to the next one. Okay, so this is going to be the case where you have no solution, or the system is inconsistent. So let's see how that works on the calculator. So again, hit F2. Then we want number 1, so it's already highlighted, so hit enter, solve. And then we enter the equation, x minus y equals to 1. Then again, same procedure. Again, we need the word and between the equations. So second, and then hit 5. We're accessing the math menu in yellow there. And then number 8, hit 8. And then 8 again to access the word and. And then we enter the next equation. X minus y is equal to negative 24. Okay, we close parentheses. And we again, as usual, we're going to access the braces. So hit second, and then first parentheses, the braces, and then x, comma, again, second, to access the closing braces, and then parentheses, and hit enter. Okay, so notice here, syntax error. So hit escape. So hit second. Y, second, close parentheses. Okay. So again, if you don't enter the parentheses or you forget a variable, it'll tell you there's something wrong. So you have to go back and check your work. So this is what happens when your equation or your system of equations, linear equations, does not have a solution. The calculator will tell you false. That's what it tells you when it has no solution. So when you get that, you have no solution. That basically tells you that in this particular case, we're dealing with lines. So that tells you that the lines are parallel and they don't intersect. Okay, so there's no solution. Sometimes we say the system is inconsistent. Now some of these are pretty straightforward, and you should be able to figure it out. Now notice here I have x minus y is equal to 1. And x minus y is equal to negative 24. Well, see, if that were possible, that would mean that 1 has to be negative 24. Okay, so there's no way that can happen. So this one you should be able to figure out that it has no solution just by the way the equation is set up here. The equations are set up. Okay, but sometimes you have 3 equations, 4 equations. It's not that easy to just look and see that there's a contradiction. Okay, so if it gives you false, though, that means there is no solution. And those are the easier ones to deal with because there's nothing to do after that. Okay. Now, if you have 3 equations with 3 unknowns, it's pretty much the same setup. Just a little bit longer to enter the equations, but it's exactly the same thing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this one. F2, and then hit enter to access the solve menu. And then we're just going to enter the equations. Okay, so okay, and again, before we go to the next one, double check that you didn't leave out an x, or you left out a plus or something, or you left out the equals. So I had 2x plus y minus 3z is equal to 0. Okay, so the next thing, again, we need an and. So go to hit the second key, then number 5. We're accessing the math menu, so hit 8. Okay, we want the word and, hit 8 again. There it is. Now we enter the next equation. So negative 2x plus 2y plus z is equal to a negative 7. Okay, same thing again. We need another and because there's another equation after this. So again, second, then 5 to access the math menu, then number 8, and then number 8 again, and then we have the word and then again you just enter the next equation. So 3x minus 4y minus 3z is equal to 7. Okay, then we add a comma, and then we define the variables. Okay, indicate the variables. So we go again second, and then hit the braces here. So it would be this one right here. Enter the x, comma, y, comma, z. And if you had 4 variables, and you had you enter the next one, z, comma, w, whatever that variable is. Okay, so here we close the braces. So second, we have it, and then parentheses. Hit enter. So we get x equal to 56 over 13. Y is equal to negative 7 over 13. So again, to see the other part of the solution, scroll up and then to the right. (35) over 13. Okay, and that's your solution. Okay, go to the next one. Now, in this one here, this one is going to have an infinite solution set. Okay, so let me point out to you that when you're solving systems of linear equations manually, say you start off with 2 equations, 2 variables, then by elimination you can eliminate one of the variables and solve for the other, and then substitute that value into the equation, and you get your complete solution. If you have 3 variables, 3 equations, then the object is to eliminate one of the variables and get 2 equations with 2 unknowns, and then from there eliminate one, get it down to 1 variable, and then solve for the second, and then eventually solve for the third. Now, if in the process of doing this manually, you get something like, say all the variables cancel out and you get 3 is equal to 3 or 0 is equal to 0, that's basically telling you that there's an infinite solution set. If you get something like 0 equal to 3, which can't be, that's telling you that there's no solution for that particular system of equations. Okay, calculator tells you false, but that's what that means. Okay, now in this particular case, if you were to try to solve this number 4 manually, you would get to the point where you would get something like 0 is equal to 0, which is telling you that there's a infinite solution. So it has many solutions. Okay, but sometimes your instructor is going to ask you to give a formula. Okay, you can't just say x equal to 1, y equal to 5, and z equal to something else, because it's infinite. So the only way you can really represent the solution set is given it in terms of a formula. Okay, so let's see what the calculator does if we try to input this data for this one. Okay, so again, F2, and number 1 is highlighted, so hit enter, and then we enter the equations then. Okay. Procedure is the same. First equation is entered, again, 3 variables. So we need the word and. So again, second, we're just repeating the same thing again. 5, and then 8 to access the word and, 8 again. There it is. Enter the next equation. So that would be 2x minus 3y plus z is equal to 23. Okay, again, the word and. So second, 5, get to the math menu, then number 8, and then number 8 again to access the word and then into the last equation, 4x minus 5y plus 5z is equal to 53, comma, okay, and then the braces, not parentheses, the braces. So second, there's the first one, and then into the variables, x, comma, y, comma, z. And follow with the braces, so second, over here, and then parentheses, hit enter. Okay, so what the calculator actually does, you look at this and you get x is equal to, and then you have parentheses, negative 5 times symbol of 5 minus 22, and then if I scroll over here, we get y is equal to minus 3 minus, and then parentheses, 3 times symbol 5 minus 7, and if I keep going, and z is equal to that symbol there with looks like a 5. Okay, treat this symbol here like that were z. So in other words, what the calculator does is it gives you the solution set. It's infinite, so there's many solutions. You can just give one answer because it's infinite. It gives you the solution set in terms of z. So if I were to multiply, look at this equation here. If I multiply x here, x equal to, okay, so I have a minus here. So I multiply through, look at this symbol right here that looks like a 5 right there. Treat that as a z, and that's minus 5z, and then minus minus gives you 22. So here, if you look at what I have, this is what it should be. X is equal to minus 5z plus 22. X is equal to minus 5z plus 22. Now if you look at the second part, the equation for y, you get y is equal to minus, and then in parentheses it has 3, and then this symbol there, this symbol here that looks like a 5 and then something else in front of it. Treat that like a z. So if I multiply through by negative, that would be negative 3z, and then minus minus is a plus 7. So basically you get this, negative 3z plus 7. And over here in the second one, or the last one, z equal to, again, that could be any number. So another way to write this would be x is equal to minus 5z plus 22, y is equal to negative 3z plus 7, and z is any real number. So basically, this is your solution set. Okay, x equal to negative 5z plus 22, y is equal to negative 3z plus 7, and z is any real number. So in other words, if you want a particular solution, pick any value you want for z. Okay, so I could pick say z equal to 1. Okay, let's say z equal to 1. Z is any real number, so put a 1 where the z is. So x is equal to minus 5 times 1 plus 22. It gives me 17. Okay, so I get this solution down here, 17. Put a 1 here where the y equals to minus 3z plus 7. Put a 1 where the z is, so that it could be negative 3 and 7 is 4. So okay, in this solution, y is 4. Okay, so what I'm saying is 17, 4, and 1. X equals 17, y equal to 4, z is equal to 1 is a solution. So if I plug in those numbers into the first equation, I get 8. Into the second equation, I get 23. Into the third equation, I get 53. So that checks. If you want another solution, let z equal to 0. Okay, so if z is equal to 0, then 22 would be one solution for x, 7 for y, and 0. So I would get then another solution would be 22, 7, and 0. Okay. So if you were to solve this manually, okay, so just to let you know how you figure this out manually, if you want it, obviously if you have a solution, you'll get a value for x, of one value for y, one value for z, if you have the three variables. Or if you get a contradiction, 0 is equal to 7, you have no solution. Okay, so let's suppose I was looking at number 4 and I wanted to solve it manually using a substitution. So what I would do then is I would take any two of the equations. So I'm going to take the first and the second, and eliminate, say, the z. Okay, so in this case I would just add them, x and 2x. I get this 3x that I have right here, minus 2y and a minus 3y gives me a minus 5y. Minus z and a z cancel, so like that cancels out, and 8 and 23 is 31. So I reduce it down to 3x minus 5y is equal to 31. Okay. Then I would take the, say, the second and the third, and eliminate the z. Okay, well, to eliminate the z, I would have to multiply, say, the second equation by negative 5. So multiplying through by negative 5, so negative 5 times 2x is minus 10x, and a 4y is minus 6. Minus 5 times minus 3y is plus 15y, and a minus 5y is a 10y. And then minus 5 times 23, minus 5 times 23 added to 53 gives me a minus 62. Okay, so now I take this 3 by 3 system and I reduce it down to a 2 by 2. That is two equations with two unknowns. So then I would, okay, try to solve this by elimination. So I say, okay, well, let's try to get rid of the y. So I would multiply the first equation by 2. And I get 2 times 3x is 6x, and minus 6x cancels to 0. And then 2 times minus 5y is minus 10y, and 10y cancels to 0. 2 times 31 is 62, and minus 62 is 0. So I get 0 is equal to 0. Now, if I had a solution to this, I would get something like x is equal to 1, say. And then I would plug it in to get the y. And then I would go back to this one and get the z, and I would be finished. Now, here in this step, if I got something like 0 is equal to 7, which is a contradiction, then I would just stop there, say there's no solution. But when you do it manually, okay, when you do it manually, you get something like 0 is equal to 0. There's no x's to solve for, so that tells you there's infinite solution. Okay, so if you want to get the solution that I pointed out in the calculator, even though in the calculator it looks a little bit weird, here's what you do. You take, say, any two of the equations. So I took the first equation and the second equation, and I brought the z over. So x minus 2y, so bring the z over, I get z plus 8. And then the second one, 2x minus 3y, bring the z over, I get a minus z plus 23. And then here, then, I would say multiply, take these two, and what I'm going to do, since I know then, based on what I got here, 0 is equal to 0, since I know I have an infinite solution. Normally when you have an infinite solution, you get a solution in terms of one of the variables. Okay, so you can solve for x and y in terms of z, or z and y in terms of x. You know, it just depends. Most of the time it's in terms of the third variable. Okay, sometimes your instructor will tell you how to give the solution, but if it doesn't, I would just go with express the answer in terms of the third variable. So in this case, I'm going to eliminate the x, so I'm going to multiply the first equation by negative 2. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and 2x cancels. Negative 2 times negative 2y is 4y, and a minus 3y is a y. Minus 2 times z is minus 2z, and minus z is a minus 3z. Minus 2 times 8 is a minus 16, and 23 is 7. So that's how I get that equation right there. Okay. Now to get the second equation for x, I could do the same thing and eliminate the y. But you could also just substitute in the second equation where you have the y, replace it by negative 3z plus 7. And solve for x, and you would get x is equal to minus 5z plus 22. Or you could substitute it into the first equation. It doesn't matter. Plug it into the first one or the second one, and you get x is equal to minus 5z plus 22, where z is any real number. So you would say this system has an infinite solution, and here it is. Y is equal to negative 3z plus 7, x is equal to negative 5z plus 22, and z can be any real number. So if the instructor tells you, well, give 2 solutions or give 3 solutions that are solutions to this system, then you would just pick values for z and plug them into these 2 formulas, like I did here. I let z equal to 1, and I got 4 for y, and 17 for the x. Okay. Okay. This is just to show you how you get the solution manually. But like I said, here in the video we're focusing on using the graphing calculator, but I just wanted you to understand how the calculator gets that solution set that it gave. Okay, that'll be it again, so we'll check you out in the next video. So I hope these are helping you. Take care.